She's a charming person. And she has proof of her truth. And she came to share with us. We have entertainers here. We have young people who are aspiring to show the wondrousness of themselves. And she knows the road. And so I have invited her to come and be and share with us her proof of the truth. Ladies and gentlemen, Rolonda.
Wow. Oh, first of all, thank you. You know, being in the South, we have a saying that we say when we really, truly mean it. I appreciate you. Oh, yeah. And I really, really do, because when I walked in here, the first thing you said was, welcome home. Out of the traffic, welcome home. You had me at hello there in the green. And I see that they, John, I mean, where did we begin with John? I mean, John, the first thing you learn is don't make her cry. But I love you so much. Yeah. And we have been through so much, you just have no idea. The ups and downs of the business, the ups and downs of what you have to go through just living in life, the ups and downs of having millions of people support you, and sometimes the people you count on the most are nowhere to be found. Amen. And when I was crying tears of joy and crying tears of pain, not knowing when the next show was going to come, what I was going to do when my show was gone, because so much of my identity was wrapped up in being on television. Had I used my gifts, was that it? And John is one of those people, Yvette here, who I've known since graduate school at Columbia University, but long before I had even done anything in television. You know, these are folks who have been there for me. Amen. And you know, all the razzle and dazzle, yeah, I walk the red carpet. Yeah, I borrow those gowns. You know, I used to say, you like this? Good. Enjoy it now, it's got to be back by midnight. But I really have just had good people around me who have taught me that we're not here to see through each other. All right. We're here to see each other through. You is that when I went to Lifetime Television, and remember there were only 3 networks at the time. I tell kids today, I said, you think you can't make it in TV? There were only 3 networks when I was ready. They're like, there wasn't an MTV? There wasn't an ESPN? No. And there were people, like a lot of people who looked like me who were on television. And you know, when I went to Lifetime, that was like this baby network that was starting. And so when I left there, I left the news business. I was an investigative reporter for New York City. I was an anchor woman, Emmy nominated, all that kind of stuff. So when I took this big chance to move to Lifetime Television, a cable network, I mean, who was hearing of cable at that time, and to do this woman's network because I believed that women needed a voice. And if it meant for me to step up there and take a cut and pay, take a chance just so women could see me do it, then they could believe they could do it too, because things were changing. New things were upon us. Technology was changing. Our industry was changing. And every day I wake up, I say, God, lead me where you lead me. And I hear all of my angels and ancestors whisper, and let her be a leader where you need her. So when I went to Lifetime, it was anything but for a lifetime. And within 9 months of leaving my news business, my career, I had gotten my journalism degree and the whole thing, the show was canceled. And they told me, wait around, we're going to pay you not to go anywhere. Now, that sounds great, doesn't it? Until you realize that you are not being able to go out and try to stomp the ground for another job and the whole bit. So I was like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? I was at the darkest time in my life. I was like, I just bought a house, I had a car, and I had no job. And I had given up everything. And I started saying, am I crazy to have listened to that gut feeling, to take a move. And John, I kept thinking about John, how supportive he was, people in my life who said, you can do this. You just hang on to your faith. You know who you are. You know the truth of who you are. And if you know better than to focus on lack with all that you have. Everything you need is already right here. Everything you need, you already have. So be still, be quiet, and listen. Well, just before they had paid me this contract, and the contract was running out, and it was like they said they were going to come up with another idea for me, and the network was in such turmoil. You know, it's not always you who have control over your life. You know, right now, you know, you may be working for somebody who's upset that they're not making $20 million, they're only making $13 million. And you're making your $50,000 a year. And living pretty good. But somebody in the White Tower up there is making a decision that's going to trickle down and affect you. You know?
Yes.
Whether you are working at the cash register at the grocery store, we're seeing fewer of those folks, right? Or whether you're a post office worker, we're seeing fewer of those, right? Industries change, life changes. So I'm like, I've got to trust that my God does not change. My faith is unwavering. I have proof of that. So I had to hold on to that. Make a long story short, the last day of my contract, you never underestimate somebody's watching. They're watching to see how you're going to handle this adversity. They're watching to see when I didn't get that Monday through Friday job, no matter how hard I worked. And I sat there next to people who jumped over me. I got to a point where I used to say on the anchor desk, I think I'm training people to go to the big time. I don't think I'm going to get there. And finally, a guy named Roger King, who was the #1 selling salesperson in television, who found Oprah Winfrey, who created Wheel of Fortune, or at least distributed Wheel of Fortune, Jeopardy, Inside Edition, American Journal, came to me and he said, listen, I've been asking you for 5 years to do my talk show. What are you going to do now? I said, I don't think so. I said, what are you talking about? I said, I'm not sure I want to do a talk show quite yet. So he said, well, then come still work with me. Do Inside Edition. So I'm working for Inside Edition, loving the job, traveling all over the world as an investigative reporter, producer, and 9 months into that show, he comes to me again. He goes, we're producing a show that's failing. I need you on the air in 2 weeks. No pilot, nothing. I have been praying to my God to let me use my gifts of storytelling to help people. What I thought I didn't want to do, a talk show, I never dreamed of doing a talk show, y'all. I didn't think I could really do one. I thought, who would want to hear me for an hour? Roger said, because you got a lot more to say than just a minute, 30 seconds. But I had been always praying that I could use my gift and my passion for storytelling to help others. And maybe God was saying, he definitely was saying, in the case of our world, it might take a little bit more than a minute 30 in some cases. I knew the first thing to do, call John. Call people who could support me in this tremendous opportunity that I had. And that became the Rolonda show. What we were able to do was to really help families. And what a lot of people didn't know is that my own family was in such disarray at the time. My family, we weren't speaking. In fact, my folks never saw my talk show. Wow. So what I was saying is that my friends became my family. Yes. My church became my family. My community. And so I didn't have time to say, woe is me. Because I still had so much support. Support and love doesn't always come from where we expect it to. You know? But it comes to us because why? Because we deserve that love and that support. I was a little girl who was alone a lot. I was very rambunctious, and I was very I talked a lot. I know you can't imagine that, but I did. In fact, I used to talk so much that my father would give me a tape recorder, and he would say, "Could you please just go in the room and just tell the rest of the story to the tape recorder?" And I would go in there and I'd make up the story, and I'd tell all the little voices and everything. And I think that's so hilarious because I look at what I do now. When you are searching for your passion, which is going to help you find your purpose and your gift, don't forget that little kid in you.
Amen.
The one who talked too much. The one who was always dancing. You know, the one who was writing all the time, hearing music in their head, running faster than any kid, more agile in a tree than any other child. That might give you a lead on where your gifts and your passions are. And they're not just one. They're in there buddied up and nestled to a whole bunch of other things. And you may be surprised that what you think are your worst, you know, we all go and look at that. I tell you, if anybody said to me half the things I say to myself, I think I'm rough self-talk that we do for ourselves. Sometimes I have to wake up in the morning and say, as I say, the devil works overtime. He just sitting there waiting. I said, I'm going to live a life that when I wake up, he's going to go, doggone it, she got up. But many times I find that I have to quiet those echoes of self-doubt. Yes. You know, you go by the mirror and you're saying like, ooh, I think my butt's getting big, or whatever it is. Whatever it is that is self-deprecating. Or you lose your keys. I mean, I have to stop myself. I do it all the time because listen, Menopausia El Musico was just not a performance on stage. But when you're forgetting things and you say, oh my gosh, I'm so stupid. And it's, you know, thoughts are things. Our words have so much power. And to be, you know, and a lot of what our success is going to be is the self-love. And I just do little things like, you know, just get in that mirror and tell the devil, go on, get out the way, I got stuff to do. You know, yes. I ask a lot of my elders, and I'm very blessed to know a lot of octogenarians, and I ask them, I say, well, what do you do when you get a break? I ask my Auntie Maya Angelou, I said, what do you do? Because she says, listen, don't think. She said, you know, she's got 70 doctorates, she's out speaking, still a rock star, as you know, I hope all of us will be, especially as women who are out there doing so much, let's do it all the way. And she said, you know, what I do is I sit down, and when I get to that point where that voice is in my head saying, how dare you think you can go speak, or who do you think you are? She said, I get out my gratitude list. After I yell in the mirror a few times, get out, you know. But then I get that list and I said, you know something, I'm not going to focus on the things that make me nervous and throw me off key and off balance. I'm going to focus on the things that I'm most grateful for. I think it's important to keep an eye, a list, or whatever it takes on the things that we're most grateful for. Sometimes the things that we thought were our worst things, our worst flaws, sometimes our flaws and gifts are the same thing. When I was a little girl growing up in North Carolina, I had this deep, raspy voice. They used to call me Froggy. They used to say, you sound like a little boy. And now I look at myself, and now I'm a voiceover artist. I'm on Judge Joe going, bad boys. I had to believe, because this is something I got to carry for the rest of my life. I have to believe this was given to me. When I was a little girl, I used to say, okay, well then if I have a deep voice, then maybe I could be like Walter Cronkite. And I would read the TV Guide, trying to sound like Walter Cronkite. Interestingly enough, what business did I end up in? But it's also believing that God didn't make no mistakes. He didn't make junk. That my voice may, as John told me, that patchwork quilt, this is my favorite thing, that my little patchwork quilt, this, I look at America, my little piece of the quilt, maybe of a different hue, maybe of a different texture, but it fits into this crazy world that we live in. We each have special gifts to give. And goodness knows the worst thing we could do to ourselves is cover ourselves with a bunch of shoulds. Do not get out of this thing called life starting any sentence saying, I should have. I should. Your difference in this world is the difference in this world. You know, what's that they say? Don't try to be somebody else. They already take it. Be yourself. Like I said, much of success is thinking about what is true. When we talk about the proof of the truth, even if it's something that you do so well, do it so well that somebody who told somebody that somebody who looked like you, lives where you do, loves who you love, they ain't supposed to be doing that. You do it so well that it makes, well, let's turn it to something positive. It is proof of the truth. There lies the truth. Being positive is one way to do that. In a negative world, still embrace positive thinking. Your brain is a ballistic missile. It's going to go where it's going to go, and that is your direction. Your thoughts are things. They bring about what you think about. You ever know people who are so negative they can walk into a room and develop a picture? They walk into a dark room and develop a picture that's so negative. Everything is bad. You know, everything, all the weather, yeah, but you know it's going to be hot tomorrow. That is the prettiest red dress. Well, you know, but you know, I need to hem it a little bit. The things that we do, staying positive is such an important thing. Living your life with passion, positive passion. Nothing beats enthusiasm. I love the word enthusiasm because it comes from the root theos, which is God. When you're enthused about something, it's God and you just kicking and dancing and getting married like Christmas. So when you find something that gets your foot tapping, that makes you happy, that makes your heart soar, whether it's writing a great sonnet, or composing a piece of music, or saying, I'm going to have that singing career that I dreamed about all of my life. What's really ironic, what John was telling you, is what I'm doing right now. I have about 5 or 6 movies coming out. That's the manifestation of a dream. I said, there's a green again. Of a dream. Well, that's truth. Green is truth, I would say. But that's the manifestation of a dream from being a little girl. Little did people know that I zigzagged back to right where I dreamed about being. But back when I was a little girl, the world wasn't ready for me yet. There weren't roles. Spike Lee was in college with me. Bill Cosby hadn't gotten a show on TV. Where was a little girl who dreamed of being an actor going to go? Sometimes our dreams are ahead of the times. But that is not when you give up. That is not when you rest. That's when you bust out another dream. I want you to sit across a table, and when somebody says, well, what can you do? You say, I'm going to save your time and tell you what I can't do. And I can't think of too many things. And what I can't do, I'm going to try. Right now. You would be surprised what happens when you make yourself do something different. It's scary. When they asked me to come do menopausia, I said, are you kidding? Now, I had gotten a Spanish scholarship at Spelman College, and I'd studied in the Dominican Republic, and I have a few Puerto Rican friends from New York, but come on, do all the music. They said, oh, it's like riding a bike. I said, what kind of bike are you riding? A whole musical and 5 and 6 songs. But I did it. Something still, no matter how afraid I was, and don't get it twisted, folks, I'm going to tell you the truth. I went home and cried twice. And felt like I was going to throw up. You know that feeling? Have you ever had that feeling where you are in it now? You said yes, and it's on and popping now. You it. But sometimes you're so deep in, it's not going to serve any purpose to turn around and go back. That's right. And see, God has sent me all kinds of angels and signs, everybody from a Broadway producer. Who brought the Broadway producer here to California? My dreams. Remember, I've been thinking about that since I was a kid, right? So now here, what was I going to do? God delivered. What was I going to do? Look the gift horse in the mouth? I had to do. God believes in matching grants, okay? If I have prayed 50%, He's going to deliver the other 50%. dare you dream of being an actress? You know how ridiculous that is? But my dreams aren't ridiculous. My gifts aren't ridiculous. But who's going to tell me that? Who's going to tell me I'm special in a world that doesn't find special in me? Only you can tell yourself who you are. Amen. You know who you are, and you know whose you are. That's right. Even when your mom and dad don't treat you right, your God always will. That's right. He'll be all that you need. It reminds me of the little boy named Johnny, and he was in class. And he was drawing this picture, and the teacher said, oh, he's sure enthusiastic. So she went out and she said, little John, what are you drawing? He said, teacher, I'm drawing me a picture of God. So the teacher said, well, now look, little Johnny. First of all, you can't draw a picture of God. Nobody knows what God looks like. Well, John looked at his teacher and said, they gonna know in a minute. Never give up on your vision. What you see can really come true. Oftentimes we measure our successes on everything that we had to give up, but never give up your smile. Never give up your positive thinking. No matter what's going on inside, let your light shine. That light serves nobody any purpose, hidden up under some grumpy frown. It makes you pleasant to be around, and it also makes you live longer. You know, if you laugh, you do live longer, they say. So don't do that. And don't get wrapped up in negative people who have cluttered minds and cluttered thoughts and cluttered mouths. And you know something, I don't know about you, but my house is a little cluttered right now too. And I do believe that if we clean out some of our clutter, we can do twofold. We can help somebody else and open things up for new things to come. I say that also because no success comes without helping others. The truth is in the proof that when we help each other, the world is no questionably a better place. You never know when you need help. John called me for advice, and doggone it, he didn't know that he was being an angel. You never know what your job is. You never know what you're being called to do. And I say that one of the things I've always done, like I say, is I just say, use me. I'm open to you. God, whatever it is, help me, help others, whatever I can do. And like I say, using our gifts to help others, God gives us many gifts. What we do with them is our gift back to others. Leave today and think about what that dream is in you, because your gift is going to drag you where you need to go, no matter what time in life it is. It will never be too late for that gift to have a happy childhood. So really listen to it. Something may come to you today while you're going home, cooking dinner, on your way home. What is that one reservoir you have not tapped into yet that could possibly change your life? You never ever know what could be in there. George Eliot said, it always seemed to me sort of clever stupidity, only to have one sort of talent, kind of like a carrier pigeon, he said. So as you look into your talents, whether it's going out to take another class, whether it's going to find a better friend, sometimes making big changes in our life is a tremendously good thing. Sometimes when the boss says you're fired, you say, ooh, thank you for releasing me to go and do what I'm really supposed to be doing. This recession may be in the nation, it does not have to be in your head. There has never been a more tremendous time, I think, than to go for your dreams. But you've got to have that faith and foundation intact to make those dreams come true. Sometimes it takes a little healing of our self-esteem too. Some of us have been kicked down and battered so much and told no so many times, we forgot what a good yes and you deserve it feels like. Nobody's going to give that to you. John just sang something in the song. He said, don't beg the world to turn around you turn around. What does our president say? You be the change. I see change as a natural, positive part of life, the next step in personal growth, a new path to follow for your unlimited future. When change comes your way, look for the good in it. Find the opportunity in it, and then turn it into a positive possibility. When change comes your way, make it work. Make it work. You have just enough of what you need to do what you have to do. I'm just here as your friend to say, go on. A little nudge off a cliff never hurt anybody. You remember that story where they were sitting on the edge of the cliff and the teacher says, go on, jump, jump. And the student's like, are you kidding me? I'm not going to jump. I'm going to kill myself. I'm afraid I'll break every bone in my body. And the teacher kept going, jump, jump. And the student goes, no, because if I jump, I'll jump when I'm happy, I'll jump when I'm married, I'll wait, I'll do. And they finally, she pushed the student, and the student flew. Somebody saw themselves. Yes. Somebody felt safety within. As crazy as it sounded to speak Spanish and sing 5 songs, I still had a quiet voice that said, it's already all right. Because I don't want you to just speak English. It'll keep you too much in one box. The world needs you. So embrace Spanish. I'm going to start taking Rosetta Stone. I want to make something of myself. It is up to me. It's not other people's doubts that count. It's my belief in me. It's not the challenges that I face each day, and there'll be many, some are on the way. But it's my determination to overcome them that counts. It's not the lack of opportunities in front of me, because everywhere I look, somebody's doubting me. It's my willingness to find an opportunity, so it never eludes me. My success is not up to the world around me. It's not up to somebody else. My success is up to me. Say that in the mirror 3 times. No excuses. Thank you so much for having me here at home again. I cannot thank you enough. This has been a wonderful honor for me because I call Reverend Auntie Deborah because you have just been such a light. I tell you this every time I see you. You just, I keep because it's like you go on YouTube and you can see just the life, the full, rich life, and being able to carry faith along every step of the way. It's just a brilliant, shining example that I can do that too. So you have been there for me, and I thank you so much because guess what? I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing today had it not been for Adele. So I believe in possibility thinking, and I know that as my auntie Reverend Denise has taught me, that truth is revolutionary. And we are proof of the truth that we keep on keeping on, that our crowns and jewels in them have already been bought and paid for. It's just our job to wear them and to wear them well. I wish you much success, love, and happiness and light along your own journey. I am pulling for you. Thank you for being there for me. And let's just keep it going because we're in this thing together.